How's it going, everyone? KingBlackToof here. So, we're nearly at the end of 2017. In fact, it's not long to go. But I thought to reign in the new year, what we'll do is look through all the entries of the Draconid card contest. Now, I've picked my winners and done a video on that. But there were so many entries. Over 300 cards were entered. So, a lot of people's creations didn't actually get shown. So, I want to do that in this particular video. Go through a montage of all the cards that were entered so you can look at them. Maybe you'll find something that you enjoy. I do want to comment upon some of the ones that stuck in my mind, but whether they did that for the right reason is a different story. So I want to comment upon a few, but then I'm going to go on to the montage where you can have a look at all the entries for yourself. So we've got here Aquos Son. Now this is definitely a memorable card. 4 strength silver, deploy, gain 4 armor, and then it's got a massive weird ability, which is what makes it so memorable. So not necessarily for the right reason, this one. At the start of your turn, every turn, this card does one out of these options. You boost 2 random allies by 2. You damage 2 random units on the battlefield, can be both sides, by 2. You spawn a Wyvern Scale Shield in both players' hands. You spawn 2 base copies of this card, vanilla Draconid tokens, 4 strength. Damage self by 4. Boost self by 6. Nothing. Destroy a random card on the battlefield, could be both sides, including self, and then lock this card. It's doomed and stubborn, so you can only use this once, but what the fuck? It's just obviously massively memorable because of the just sheer amount of randomness on this card. And it's probably not even a great card by itself, even if it was like choose one of these options. It might be. But it's 8 value, so it can easily be killed. And it's just, you might leave it on the board to just see, you know, it has the chance of damaging the player's own hand rather than your side. If this gets played against you, it has the chance to destroy this side. So if you've got loads of weak minions and they've got loads of strong minions, could be alright to keep this on the board. It could do nothing. It could damage itself. 2 of those and it dies. You know, it's really weird. I just wanted to comment on that one. So another one that really stood out was this one, Yaroga Short Snout. Now this stood out because of the amazing card art, as well as the way he's created the mechanic and tried to make it look like a legitimate mechanic up here, you know. He's really presented it well in a really nice way. And this was definitely on the shortlist. 6 strength gold. It has the flight ability. So it can go on any row, but flight, this unit soars above the battlefield and is not played onto the row from your hand. At the start of the next round, will land on a random row on your side. Keep your eyes upward. Okay, so Yaroga Short Snout has flight. When a weaker unit comes into play, you mark it. When this lands, you resurrect the unit that was marked. So, I mean, I really like the idea of flying. It's uninteractable. I assume you still play it from your hand in round 1, and then you can't target it, but in round 2 you get it. The reason why this didn't really come through is just that it's a large carryover mechanic. It's a 6 strength gold. Obviously, it's a low tempo in one particular round. But you mark a weaker unit. So anything that's 5 strength or below, you mark on your side. And on the next round, you get this 6 strength dragon and whatever that resurrects. So it's just kind of like a big carryover mechanic. I like the idea that he's trying to implement flight. Maybe flight could be done in a different way. Maybe it comes onto the battlefield after a turn, or in the next round means it's kind of carryover. So it's definitely a very memorable one. Was on the short list because of the way it was presented and the interesting flight mechanic that he was trying to introduce, which was really, really nice. Now, in my mind, the Porv Ryan actually stood out quite a bit. I do remember this one. I believe this was on the short list a little bit. It's a 1 strength bronze, Porv Ryan, Death Wish. Resurrect this unit on the same row. Revenge, weaken this unit by 1. At the end of the round, banish this unit. So, effectively what this means is that if you can kill it, he resurrects onto the same row. So it's an infinite Brand Warrior consume. But if the opponent can do 1 damage to it, then it weakens it instead and kills it outright. So which is really, really nice, you know. It gives the opponent a reason to deal damage to it. It's not too difficult to do 1 damage. You might get a Stammer forward. Someone's taking loads of Owls or Thunders, they might consider it, which would be a massive waste, which is good for you. It's a very nice kind of card. I think maybe having a body that always comes back. Now, obviously, the Death Wishes don't activate at the end of the round. This is gone at the end of a round. But it is like mini run rid of the small marshes. Apart from that, if the opponent hits it, it will die. It's a really nice card. I mean, are you going to play a 1 strength card from hand? You know, so it takes a lot to get this guy value-wise back up, which is actually kind of a positive in a way that it's not so outright broken. Might be underpowered, but I like the idea. I do like it. I'm not sure why it needs to be a Vran though. Maybe it could have been something else. I'm not necessarily up on my Vran lore, which I should be, but yeah, I love it. It's a very nice, interesting card. A lot of interactivity on that one. So this one is a memorable one due to the fact that it's got a very weird name. And at first I didn't actually know whether he was being serious. But all of his entries are like this, and I considered them because the abilities seem to be trying to be good. But it's a 6 strength gold, and it's Lel, I'm on fire, which is definitely memorable, you know, because this is the only person who actually did entries with weird, funny names. And other ones are such as Cool Name QQ, Breath of D. I don't know what that was, the Breath of D. And Such Majestic Wings. But their abilities are reasonably, you know, interesting. For example, you know, he has trying to implement Deflagration. Deploy, deal 5 damage to an enemy. If it dies, apply Deflagration. Every time an enemy dies, strengthen Cool Name QQ by 1. You know, very difficult to understand that one, but you know, it was definitely memorable just because it made us laugh. You know, didn't win, but it made us laugh because the names were just like Lel or Fire. Just funny. So these next entries by Edivore are quite memorable, and that is because I can only assume that he drew his own images. I said the art doesn't matter, and it doesn't, but it does make impressions, and this made an impression of definitely memorable. I think one of the few people to seemingly draw their own artwork. The Royal Wyvern Hatchling here. We've got the Upholding Forktail, and we've also got the Royal Wyvern. It's obviously very memorable. And the abilities, you know, he tried. 7 strength silver, gain 3 armor. Weaken each enemy previously damaged by a Draconid by 2. I think there are issues with that. That you have to remember what's been damaged by a Draconid. But, you know, very, really nice. 6 strength bronze, damage an enemy by half the strength of the strongest Draconid ally, rounding down. And 4 strength bronze. If you control a different Draconid, gain immune, and at the beginning of your turn, strengthen by 2. If you don't, instead weaken it by 3. So, you know, really nice, interesting mechanics, and memorable because he drew his own artwork. We can hope, we can assume, you know. Let's hope he did. And let's hope, I don't know, if he's 50 years old, be cool. If he's 12, also pretty cool, you know, doesn't matter. So another memorable one, because it's actually, as you can see, tried to put it into the game. Not legitimately, but I mean, he's modelled it as if it was in the game. And this really stood out to me as, you know, going beyond in effort, really. It makes it look like this is a card which could legitimately be in the game. A 3 strength gold, Dragon's Blessing. Deploy, boost all other Draconid cards in the deck and hand by 2, and spawn Hellfire and Brimstone on the opposite rows. So it seems all rows. And at the start of the turn, damage a random enemy on a random row by 2. Okay, it's a little strange. This is a 3 strength, and you spawn them all, so it's kind of like the Weave S incantation that wasn't out at the time, I don't think, when this guy was entered into the competition. But he also had, so he's got like a really nice, powerful ability there. Low tempo but powerful. But then he's also playing a Golden Weather, although that Golden Weather is also really strange because it seems to go on all opposing rows, but then it damages a random enemy on a random row. So it seems to only hit 1 unit, which is very weird because then if you clear 1, does it still work? Because it's not on all rows, and it starts to get a little confusing. But I really like, you know, the effort put into making this look like it was in part of the game, and I really like that background too, and those little blue circles. It's really nice, and everything just sort of fits really nicely. The artwork kind of fits, and yeah, pretty good. We also had some very, very complicated cards. I mean, cards which had like text walls on them. And they're memorable because of the amount of reading and the amount my brain exploded. This might be one, not necessarily the most powerful in terms of text, but it's a 4 strength gold, disloyal, so you play it on the opponent's side, and you banish up to 2 Draconid units on your side of the board, which I think is disloyal, so the opponent, maybe that might not work though. And spawn on the opposite row, King, Dragon, right head and left head. So you play this disloyal, you banish 2 of your dragons, Draconids, which could work well with Porv Ryan because it's the same person introducing both. And you get the King Dragon left head and the King Dragon right head. Now the King Dragon left head, X, half of the total value of the banished units, rounding down. So if you actually did do 2 of those, it'd be 1 strength. Deploy, repeat equal to half of this unit's base strength, rounding up. Boost a random Draconid ally by 1. And you've got to repeat that equal to half this unit's base power. So you want to actually, you know, do a lot there. You want to do high numbers, not low numbers. And then you've got the right head. Half of the total value of the banished units rounding down. Deploy. Repeat equal to half of the unit's base value rounding up. Damage a random enemy by 1. I think it does work out to be worth it. Like, if you get rid of 20 strength of this guy, you know, you've given them 4, you've gotten rid of 20 strength. And this guy's health, or his strength, is 10. And that is 10, so it kind of halves it. But then he boosts an ally by 10, and he damages an enemy by 10. So it does work out that you actually are getting more value, and the higher value Draconid you can get rid of, the more value you get, minus the 4. It is complicated, not the most complicated, but it is a memorable one because of the amount of X and this and that and all that stuff. You know, a very interesting idea that his strength is determined by what you banish. So another very complicated one is this card here, and others entered by the same person. He tried to implement something called a domination point, which is very memorable because there was a lot of reading and your mind just started to drift off on how difficult it was. Now, if it was in the game, might be able to be a bit easier. I mean, I'm sure crewman is quite difficult to explain without actually seeing it in action, possibly. But it's an 8 strength bronze Draconid, Domination 1, the Ancient Wyvern. Sounds like I'm reading a story. I will be. Choose a Draconid with a domination ability on your side of the board, then damage an enemy by the unit domination value. If the chosen unit is gold, lose 1 domination point. If the enemy is destroyed, gain 1 domination point. Domination. When you play a unit with a domination ability, you gain as many domination points as the number shows. Domination points. The DP are shown under the player's total points and do not count towards them. You lose 1 DP when an ally Draconid dies. When the round ends, you keep as many DP as ally Draconids. You see what I mean? It's very difficult to understand all that interaction. And he's also entered different cards using the same domination idea. We got the Icasti, 3 strength silver, Domination 3. Choose a Draconid unit with a power lower or equal to the number of domination points from your deck. If it's a bronze or silver, lose as many domination points as the unit's power and play it. If it's a gold, boost south by its power and activate its domination ability, shuffle your deck. And also Zeracantement. Domination 5, choose one. Damage an enemy by the number of domination points, then lose all domination points. Or boost all allied Draconids by 2 and gain 1 domination point for each. Not as complicated, but I mean, as a set, it's really kind of complicated to think about. And it's very, very memorable because of this really complicated domination system that you're trying to put in. It was fun to read, you know, yeah, good stuff. So another card which is very memorable to me was the Ran Mage. Now this 3 strength bronze is a very simple card. I mean, it's very basic, but it seems like it's got applications. Deploy, look at the top bronze Draconid unit in your deck, boost an ally by its base strength. Seems easy enough. I mean, it looked like the old Alba armored cavalry where you'd look at the top 3 bronzes of the opponent's deck and then you'd choose to boost by one of their base value, whereas this is done on your deck, so it's inherently better because you can build your deck in such a way that you know what cards you're going to look at. Now it only looks at the top bronze, but again, this was shown before the latest patch, so you might be able to look at the top 3. And now we've got the Wyvern Scale Shield, so maybe it's a little less relevant, but I mean, it's on a body and, you know, can be drawn out using slizards and stuff. So now the thing that I was really looking for from this contestant, Milan Vincent's, was does he portray any high strength Draconids that this guy would really benefit from that you could put into your deck? And his other entries don't really show that, which is a bit unfortunate. He does have a bit of a death wish there where he can strengthen all Draconids, but it's not really going to be enough for to make the Ran Mage. I'm looking for things which are like 10, 11 base strength. This would work really well with the Fiend, probably, especially nowadays where you can strengthen it by 2 and it'd be a 13, and you can place this down and that'd be a 16 thing, but this only pulls Draconids. But, you know, I like the idea. It's a very simple card, but it works. Just needed some Draconid cards which could benefit from this guy's ability to look at their base strength. I also liked the Forgotten Ran Sword. This really was memorable to me as a silver card. It was a silver monster, and it had a very simple ability which seemed to work. And we saw the duel mechanic with Seltkirk at this point, but select a Draconid ally, reset it, and initiate a duel with an enemy unit, and the winner gains resilience. So you'll always probably gain the resilience. You're going to use this as a reset on a high strength Draconid, and then removal, you know, based on its power, its base strength most likely. And the winner gains resilience. So you get resilience and you get removal and a reset. It's really good, and you know, it just really requires you to have high base strength Draconid units, very much like the Ran Mage that we saw earlier. And I really like the concept of this because it just really sparks my lore interest. You know, Forgotten Ran Sword. I want to know more about this particular weapon, about particular Vrans, because they are pretty, you know, elusive in their sort of lore and stuff. So it really sparks my interest, and it has pretty decent ability too. So another card is the Ran Matriarch set. Now this does a lot of stuff. It's a Draconid, 6 strength gold. Deploy. Spawn a lesser Ran warrior to the left of this unit and a Ran heiress to the right of this unit. And every 2 turns at the start of your turn, spawn a lesser Ran to the left. So every 2 turns, it spawns a lesser Ran to the left. This is supposed to go with a Ran warrior, because the lesser Ran here is a 3 strength silver. Death Wish, strengthen the Ran Matriarch by 1. If consumed, heal and strengthen the Ran Matriarch by an additional 2. So obviously this comes out every 2 turns, which the Ran warrior will consume, which allows it to get like 3. It heals and then strengthens the Ran Matriarch by 3. So the Ran Matriarch will start to get a lot of value, and you're churning out units every 2 turns. And, you know, this is a prime target. Now, being 6 strength is massively vulnerable. And this is where the Ran heiress comes in. The Ran heiress is a 5 strength Draconid. Death Wish, resurrect the Ran Matriarch. So if you kill the Ran Matriarch, and then this guy dies by consumption or something, then he gets resurrected, which I would imagine spawns another lesser Ran warrior to the left and another Ran heiress to the right. So you have to kill this first, or lock it, and then you have to kill that, which means this has time to start getting strengthened by the lesser Ran warriors and producing more, and it starts to get a bit out of control. There's a long series of cards there, but they all work really well together, and, you know, work with the Ran warrior, maybe some other consumes and stuff. And although vulnerable, has a way to protect himself, and, you know, could possibly be quite a formidable card to see played, which is very memorable. And finally, this particular card, the Forktail. There were a lot of Forktails. I think Forktail was the most common card in this particular set, which you'll see soon. And there were also a lot of poison particular motifs. So it seems like a lot of people expect Draconids to be able to poison things in some form. Now, what particular form that takes is different. So people had hazards. This person has tokens, so it actually applies poison to a particular unit, much like resilience, which can probably be locked. Or some people had it so that if you healed or reset a unit, it would get rid of the poison as well. So there's a lot of poison ideas flown around for different types of Draconids, which if they wanted to introduce a large kind of Draconid kind of thing, then poison could be a way to do it. You know, damage over time that you would have to heal up. Whether that would be a good mechanic or not is difficult to say. So now we're going to look at the montage of all the cards that were entered. And, you know, just enjoy it, have a look, see if you can spot yours if you entered. You know, tell me what your favorites were out of the lot. It's going to be a long list. I'm going to do about 5 seconds on each card, and you can pause the video if you need to. But again, thank you everyone for entering the competition. We will do more. Congratulations to the winners. I apologize to everyone that didn't win, but I hope you enter the next competition we have. And until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me, and I'll see you in 2018. I hope you enjoy your new year.